Hi, I'm Malcolm Zell, and welcome to my channel. So today, for this video, this is going to be something a little more lighthearted. In my review of Moana 2, spoiler alert, I loved it. Okay, so I love all things Moana because they speak so much to me, but especially in regarding to my spiritual journey and how I connected with my ancestors has allowed me on this path that I've been on. I want to talk about how essential it is to connect with your ancestors, why they were so revered, why they are so revered in traditional and indigenous cultures that understand how important it is to connect with your ancestors, and just talk about the movie. So there'll probably be some spoilers in here. So if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. It's already on Disney Plus. That's how I was able to watch it. So go check that out. So anywho, let's talk about Moana. All right. So I'm so glad I did not go and watch this movie in the theater because I swear throughout that whole movie, I was boohooing. I was crying because I was like, that was my experience. Disney know what they doing. Okay. A lot of the stuff that we think are just movies are not movies. They telling us everything and they putting it in play by play. So if you don't think your ancestors are demonic, or you don't think that indigenous spiritual understandings are evil, welcome, stay. If you do feel like that, I mean, you can stay, but I don't care. But that's your business. Anywho, so I was watching the movie, and even with the first Moana, I was like, this is so me. But at the time, like, I didn't pick up what they was putting down, right? But this movie, like now that I've had like my spiritual awakening and my ascension process, that was me. I saw myself in that movie through and through. Like it was just like it's like I'm watching myself in animation form, but I'm Polynesian. So, my spiritual journey started when I started connecting with my ancestors. And again, at the time, I didn't understand what was happening. But now that I'm on the other end of that, I understand why ancestors were so revered in society, why they were so important, and connecting with them was so important, right? These are the living well, they were the living extensions of you and your family, and now they're on the other side of there in the spiritual realm. They have so much access to information. They have so much guidance. Hopefully, y'all had like a loving connection, and if not, you do that work to lift your ancestors' spirit. But it's a whole lot that comes with that. So I want to so like I said, I was boohooing throughout the whole movie, but I want to focus on the scene again. Spoiler alert, where Moana dies, passes out, or whatever. So they're in a big storm, they're in a big lightning storm, and they're in the water. And also, you in Moana 1 and Moana 2, you'll see how significant the water was to the story, how the water was helping her and guiding her. Same thing, right? So most indigenous cultures understand that water is a sentient being, water is alive, and water is communicating with us, and water is a life force, right? We cannot do anything without water. And most, again, pre-colonial spiritual practices understood this, right? That's why you'll see all these deities or whatever that have this water representation, or this feminine flow of representation, right? So you'll see that in the water, and like the water really do be doing that. When you are connected and your consciousness is high enough, the water will, and if you establish that relationship, the water will start communicating and talking to you and help you out in that way. Ask me how I know, but it'll be in another video. All right, so I want to focus on the scene. So they were in a storm, and she had to go, and her ancestors came and gave her a prophecy. They was like, "You got to go follow the orange fire in the sky." And that's going to lead you to your path of where you're supposed to go. She followed it, and they went on that adventure. And so she was supposed to touch the island. The island had been buried in the sea. So in order for like her to lift the curse that has been, placed on the island from like some evil god or something, she had to go, and they had to touch that island, touch that land for it to restore the balance, right? So the initial way that they tried to do it did not work. And so they kept planning and they kept trying to get there and trying to figure it out. So she was like, let me just hop down in the water and go touch the island. It could be that simple, right? Um, but so when she went down and she touched like the island, and when she was going down, the big storm, the lightning, as soon as she touched it, she got struck by the lightning, right? And she basically passed out or quote unquote died. So again, if you watch the movie, you get to that part, you'll see it. So when she did that, so when she died, I'm gonna show some pictures, right? So this is Maui, right? This is Moana passed out, dead, or whatever you want to call her, right? She was unconscious. She wasn't with us anymore, right? Her spirit had transcended. And as you can see, this is where the ancestors came, right? It basically surrounded her. So this is Maui holding her. You know, he thinks she gone. He thinks she dead. And here the ancestors come. And then the chief, the one with the, you know, the headgear, was the one that was giving her the prophecies and the message and telling her what to do. Now, because she fulfilled the duty and she fulfilled her divine assignment, is what I call it, right? You'll see, I'll talk about it some more. But as you can see, because she was so connected with the spiritual and she was so connected with her ancestors and she listened and she received that guidance, right? So the time came and her spirit had basically left her body, right? So this is what I would call, she probably had like a kundalini awakening or spiritual awakening or like her ascension process. And her ancestors are surrounding her, but to the unknown eye, she did. And so again, this was a similar process with me where I was like, I didn't die or whatever, but my energy had crossed over, right? My spirit had got enlightened, or whatever you want to call it, and my ancestors had guided me to that point. So that's why, like, I was just boohooing throughout this whole movie, right? Because I was like, this is what was happening that I couldn't see at the time. This is what was going on, right? So that you see them surrounding her, right? And then like you'll see like when they give you the up view, you can see like they're surrounding her in this little circle. And again, you may see, I'm pretty sure this image of this figure has some type of spiritual significance in their culture, which is why you're seeing it, right? But you see the ancestors start to enclose and encircle her, right? Same thing. This is what's happening on a spiritual and energetic level, right? The things that you can't see. This is what I would say would be a good visual representation of that, right? And so, because we've been taught to demonize this, and we're so disconnected from our uh, ancient spiritual knowledge, most of us will understand this or be able to have this beautiful relationship with our ancestors. I mean, look at this, right? And so this is a more close view. This is her grandmother, and her grandmother's coming to talk and basically lay hands on her, right? And so when she's, there and she's unconscious, her grandmother comes and they are putting, they basically, they put that spiritual energy back into her, right? They put that energy back into her. And as you can see, if you watch the movie, she is quote unquote born again. They put that God, that spiritual light inside of her, and she got her goddess tattoo. So now she's up there with Maui as a quote unquote goddess because she did the work, right? She did, what she needed to do for her people. She was connected with her ancestors, and now she's been, endued with this goddess or God energy or source energy or whatever you want to call it. And if you continue to watch, she gets lit up with this energy, and she gets her special tools and all this stuff. She's in goddess status. She's in goddess mode. So that's what happens when you spiritually awaken, right? When you clear, your some people call it karmic debt, or you clear like those dense energies out of your body. Um, it may not be as dramatic as this, but what will happen is you will have that experience and where your energy transcends and it moves up and you are on par with source like God energy, whatever terminology you have for that, it differs by culture, but that's what happens, right? So what happened with me is I got imbued with this energy and with this light, and I felt free and I felt expansive, and it was a completely like liberating experience. And but I went through those challenges and I did, I had those experiences. Sometimes I was getting the guidance and sometimes I was like just lost in the sauce and I had to find my own way. I didn't know which way to go, right? But there's always a method to the madness, right? They're trying to guide you to a particular place, but at some point you're going to have to start listening to your own consciousness. And so when she passed out and died, her ancestors came, and then she got hurt, and then she came back with her goddess in her goddess form. I was like, oh, like I was boohooing, I was sobbing, and I was like, oh, this, thank you, ancestors, like this, and I just reflected on my experience with transcending and all of that. But y'all, the stuff is there. The movies are telling us this is the understanding we're coming back to. We are coming back to this understanding that we have a whole system of things that are working in tandem to help us advance spiritually, and we are now starting to understand the importance of tapping in and doing it from the ancestral knowledge place point, right? um, Colonialism has robbed us of a lot of that. It has robbed us of this understanding, of this wisdom, of this stronger spiritual connection. We've been robbed of a whole lot, and so it's so beautiful to start see these things getting like reconnected, and them getting more infused and acknowledging like the cultural significance and importance and all this wisdom that they hold, right? And so in the movie, you'll see like they had a whole ceremony, and she got called by the ancestors right there in that ceremony, right there where they were like honoring her and all this other stuff. She got called by the ancestors right then and there, and she got called on her journey, right? So yeah, so I love this movie, and I'm probably gonna watch it 50 million more times like I did with the first one. But it was just so amazing to see and to watch, and it was so beautiful, and again, it's always great to be able to have these visual representations, because when you're just experiencing things in the physical, it's hard to explain this stuff. Like it's hard to explain it and show it, and I'm like, bam, here it is right here. Wow, look at how they were able to, piece and weave that together, right? But because for us, mostly it's things that's unseen, we have a hard time trying to piece like these things together and put it together in a way where you don't sound crazy, and at some point you just have to accept that some people just gonna think you crazy, and it's not much you can do about that. But here it is on display. This is what happens when you connect with your ancestors, right? You're going to have those challenges, you're going to have, those things, but basically it's pathway clearing for you to get to your higher self and your higher state of consciousness, like Moana did. She is in her higher state of consciousness now. She's in her goddess era. She's in her goddess state, okay? And look at the power that she has, right? This is women's natural functionality. This is how women were functioning before we again got introduced to these colonial functions and mind frames. We were operating in between the spiritual world, back and forth. That's what we were doing. And so again, to see this and see how she got her markings, right? Uh yeah. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'm Mademoiselle. If you don't know, I talk about more about the energetics behind divine connection in my book, Decolonizing the Divine, where I basically teach you how to access divine energy without all the oppressive influences that we've collected over the past few millennia, centuries, whatever. All right. Um, it'll be in the description. And I also have a webinar where I focus on Black women, and it's called Reawakening Your Ancient Divine Energy. And I focus on Black women and the energy that we carry. I help you understand this energy. And if you go watch this movie, you'll probably get a better understanding. But I help you understand the energy that you carry and how to use it for transformation, right? And how to create, what it is that you want, understanding who you are and what you have access to. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Please do all the things. Please like, please share. Please comment. Let me know if you watched the movie, if you liked it. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. But it was beautiful to me, of course, as you know. And yeah, I'm going to go watch it again. So enjoy.